So let me just quickly, though, talk about hands, body. With this drill here, what it pretty much does is it's going to be your lift drill, okay? So just like it's going to be set up like the poles, but I don't necessarily want you to weave in and out of the poles. Obviously, with the poles, it's like slalom skiing where you want to get to it as close as you can. With the cones, I actually want you, it's a bending drill, so I actually want you to practice on picking up this inside rein and getting that horse shaped like a C and making him step away from you, okay? So all of this is just exercises on the neck, on the pole, on the withers, on the ribs, and just making that horse take his hip and step to the inside and get that nice C where you're just lifting, never coming across that horse's neck. You're just lifting and getting that nice position of that body. I want that horse, when you lay that inside leg on that horse, on the inside of his body, I want him to pick up those shoulders and move away from your leg. I never want him to push into your leg, okay? When he pushes into your leg, his ribs are going to be out of position when he goes into that turn. So whether you have a rollback style, a bendy style, whatever that style that horse is, they all have to keep those ribs up and out for that turn. You never want them to do this because now they're going to be hollowing their back and you're going to lose that focus of where the outside of that horse's body is. He's also not going to be reaching up with that inside hind leg, which that is your motor, okay? So a big thing with your hands that I saw a lot of us today do is we want to make sure that they stay in your box. I call it an imaginary box right in front of you. This is where your hand should be at all times. Some of you have probably been taught to pull to your pocket, pull back to your hip. I don't believe in that with barrel racing because there are some trainers that can get away with it, and there are some people that can get away with it with impeccable timing, okay? But if you come into that turn and go to pull in here, what does it do to that horse's body? Kicks the hip out, stops the hip, okay? Natural pivot point on the horse is the front end. So you're going to tell that horse, okay, stop on the front end and swing that hip out. In barrel racing, if we have that horse stop on its front end and swing that hip out, we have lost our motor. Okay, in barrel racing, and cutting, and working cow horse, and reining, any of these disciplines that we want them to start to keep forward motion and come through themselves to turn, we can't have them stop and pivot on their front end and swing that hip out. You're going to get sore stifles, sore hocks, sore sacroiliacs, sore backs. It's the unendable of keeping them sound and healthy, okay? Plus, it's going to kill your power in your turn because they aren't going to be as fast when they do that. So we have to teach them, just like as you would teach a horse to spin, you wouldn't have, you see those reining horses spin, they aren't going to cross underneath themselves and get all tangled up, okay? They're going to reach that front end around with that outside front leg, and they're spinning by stepping fast by coming around. That's how they're able to keep that inside pivot foot. Okay, so same thing with barrel racing. Why do we want to run up there and come back with our hand? One of two things. We're confusing that horse because now we're telling them to run and stop and turn. Okay, they know they need to keep forward motion. So now they have to compensate for your balance, you hindering their balance by you pulling back. Okay, so now what you've done is you said, hey, come through that turn and come here. They say, oh no, I'm going to have to put all my weight on my front end, swing that hip out. Now your timing is like, okay, now really come on. So if his head comes up, then you're going to come up and it becomes this pulling battle, okay? So you want to make sure to stay soft and supple with your hands. Another thing that I also see is quiet riding is very good. Yes, I love quiet riding. I'm not a big one to say, you know, get your legs way out and gallop and kick and kick. I want your legs to be close to that horse. Yes, I want you to be driving with that legs, because another thing that we have a tendency of doing is we want to be in that 2-point position running that barrel all the time, okay? We think this is what's going to make our horse fast. Is this making this horse go forward? No. Okay, what's making that horse go forward? Squeezing my legs. Asking the engagement to come from the hind end, to move forward, okay? So remember that. I see so many of us ride like this, okay? Ride up here. If you ride up here, look at where my legs are now. They're off that horse, okay? I don't have that balance to have that contact between my horse, okay? If I roll my hips down and I stay centered with that center of gravity with that horse, now I have all the strength and the control with my legs. Squeezing, pushing, inside leg, outside leg, whatever control I need, I have it because I have the center of my body gravitating to their center of their body, okay, to be able to use my legs, okay? This gets you nowhere. The only thing this gets you is it's going to throw you to the inside. It's going to put all that weight over that horse's heart area and cause more problems, okay? Stay centered with that horse. Take the arch out of your back, sit on your pockets, sit on your hips, and drive with your legs. Your forward motion comes with your legs, okay? That is going to make that horse step forward, not your upper body. So back to hands. Another thing that I really see with back to quiet riding. Quiet riding is wonderful, being close with that horse, but riding a horse is like dancing to music. You got to move. You constantly got to move. I see a lot of us just go in there and we lift, and we do nothing, or we pull, and we do nothing, or we guide, and we do nothing, okay? That horse is in a rhythm, okay? Just like, you know, normal, some of my other clinics, how I talk about how all those sequence go with the rhythm of a walk and a trot and a lope, okay? Same thing is whatever rhythm you're riding with that horse is moving. So if you're at a lope, you're at a 3-beat, okay? Your hands better be moving in a 3-beat. Even when you're running, you better be moving with that horse a little bit. Don't have a death grip, but just a hold when you lift and a hold when you guide. Be moving with that horse at all times so that he can move with you during your run. So that's a huge thing I see. And it's not that I want you to be moving like this all the time. That I kind of call it these 3 fingers, especially when you're doing your slow work and we're doing everything two-handed. These 3 fingers are always just going to be kind of moving. When you're lifting, you're moving with that horse, okay? When you're guiding, you're moving with that horse. Don't just have a death grip and just pull or hold, okay? A horse is a fleet animal. If he doesn't understand, he's gonna react. Whether it's throwing his head up, whether it's bringing his head down, shaking his head, whichever direction, whatever way he's gonna react to it, he's gonna be a fleet animal. That horse is not waiting for a command, he's waiting for a release. So we have to teach him for that release. We might ask him for another command right away for another release, but you constantly gotta be moving on that horse, okay? So remember that. Give and take, give and take, give and take at all times. So what we're going to do with this drill is just kind of get that horse's body just moving everywhere you want it to go. Through its ribs, lifting its shoulders up, okay? I won't probably know until I see today and get on them since you can't really tell during a run. But all your horses need to be broke at the pole, okay? When they're broke at the pole, that is collection, okay? If they're really hard in the mouth, you aren't going to have any collection for that turn. For them to gather themselves and come around, they're going to have a hollow back, and that's sometimes then where the pulling match comes from. Okay, so make sure whether we have some that need a little bit of refreshing on the breaking of the pole, we want them to gather up for that turn on their own when you have your hands in that correct position. Okay, now there's also being broke at the pole and broke at the withers. I don't want that horse to hide from me either. I don't want him down in the front end. Okay, then he can't see where he's going. When that horse is perfectly gathered and broke at the pole, it's just right here. Okay, so where he can see and round his back. Okay, I don't want to broke at the withers way down there hiding from me and getting heavy. Okay, so we're just going to walk it and trot it. Another thing that I see a lot is we put too much weight to the inside. We want to lean. We want to look at the barrel because it's an obstacle that we're turning, okay? That's one of the worst things we can do. If I'm walking a straight line, okay, and then I put all my weight to that inside, where does that horse go? Okay, he's going to go to where I lean, okay? Because I'm throwing his balance off by telling him to go that way. So you have to be careful of, gosh, my horse got in there too tight on that turn. What was your body doing? Okay? Were you looking at that barrel and leaning to the inside? making him say, okay, I understand what you want. You want me to go to that barrel. So if anything, I want you to have a little more weight to the outside to support his body being in that correct position to really get that inside hind leg through himself and come around. Our biggest focal point is I want you to pay attention how that horse is moving underneath you, and you always want to get by that barrel with your leg, depending on whether he's a rollback style, really bendy style, free rolling, rady style. You always want to get by that barrel with your leg. Why is that so important? No one knows? I know. Because, right, this is your trailer, okay? This is your truck. If you're getting ready to make a right-hand turn, okay, and you got someone driving your truck that doesn't know how to drive a trailer, you're like, oh, just make a right-hand turn right here. And they just go, what's going to happen to that trailer? It's going to cut off the back and it's going to curb it, right? And what are you going to say? No, 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 you got to go straighter longer. Keep going to make that turn, okay? Same thing with these burro horses. Keep going to make that turn with the horse's hip. Don't forget, just because where you're sitting in this front end, that this is all you have to turn the barrel with, okay? Don't look at that obstacle and go, okay? That's not going to be faster. If anything, it's going to put that horse in a jam because he knows he has this whole hind end that you forgot about to get around, okay? So always pay attention where this inside hind leg is landing. That is your power. That is your motor. If you get by that barrel with your leg, no matter what, you're never going to be in that jam of getting that horse's hip by. If you turn that barrel when that barrel reaches his shoulder, you're in a jam, okay? He knows he's got this whole body to get around that you haven't thought about. So then you're going to probably do something foreign. You're going to pull on him. You're going to lift on the backside. I see some of us do that. If there's not enough room, you go like that on the backside. Well, what happens when you lift one on the backside? Okay, you stop forward motion again, and they have to wait on you, and they tilt their head to the inside, and they're like, okay, now I'm just waiting on you, now my body's thrown out, and they learn to stall out, okay? Same goes for some of the horses that like to kind of lift up, leaving a turn a little bit. We're a creature of habit. The first thing we want to do, if a horse's head comes up, what do we want to do? Come up with it, right? Horse's head wants to get a little higher, we want to get a little higher. Worst thing we could do, because now we're helping the situation, right? It's kind of a panic memory is what it is. If that horse wants to get a little bit pulley and wants to get his head up too high, the best thing we could do is wait, guide and move, and let him level back out before reacting, okay? So some of that stuff is just, it's very hard for us to trust to get through some of those things. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to trot in and out of these cones. When you hit that cone, I want you to move away and practice putting that weight in your outside stirrup. Practice putting that weight in that outside stirrup. I never want you to cross the horse's neck with the inside rein. That's holding the horse off a barrel, okay? When you lift, I feel there's kind of 3 commands for your hands. Always stay in your box. You're going to lift. You're going to push forward, not necessarily pushing forward like to his ears, but pushing forward by your next cue is going to be kind of with your legs, of squeezing, driving them up into the turn by pushing forward, being patient with that hand, and then rolling that wrist to a guide, which we'll do in our next drill of just practicing on guiding, leaving that turn. So right now we're just working all on the front side. This is a drill for all the front side of the barrel, of just moving them away and getting that nice C position of that horse's body. If you lift and that horse's hip just leaves you, you're going to have to put weight to your outside stirrup, weight on your outside leg, get that hip to the inside and make him lift those shoulders, make him bring those ribs up away from your legs and stay in that correct position, okay? Don't want him looking like a snake where the hip control, if you got that hip control, you have a lot more control up front as well, okay? You lose that hip, you've lost all that control up front. So you gotta be able to know to drive forward and have that start from here to have all the correctness of his shoulder and the ribs as well, okay? So I'm just going to kind of demo. If some of your horses are a little bit hot after running, you can just start out a walk at first, okay, until they kind of relax. So right when I hit this middle, I'm going to lift, put my weight to that outside to support that nice C. Okay, make him wait, make him wait. When I come back through, you can see I shifted my weight to that outside. Okay, and we're just going to do it at a nice slow jog. Just sit the trot, always be moving my hands. Give and take, make him stay forward with his body. They want to lope, just constantly move, keep them collected. Okay, always looking forward. I don't want you to look at that cone. So many of us want to look at that barrel. If you look at that barrel, you lose that whole focus of where you're supposed to be around that barrel. Look where that horse is supposed to, look where that horse is looking. That's where you're supposed to be looking. Okay, so you're just going to be moving that body away. He wants to get a little bit hot. I'm just hold, release. Some of those horses that need a little outside rein pressure right here, that's fine. Bring that outside rein out too to be a supporting rein. Okay?
Plug in. Oh.
But make him listen to you. Make him soften to you. So we can get one person here, one person over there, and we'll just work on that nice position of that body on the front side of that turn. Does anyone have questions? No? Okay. So as you as a rider, be very focused on rolling your hips down. They're a little bit hot from running. Just do it out of walk at first. Give and take with your hand. Don't lose that hip control. So lean forward, sit deep in your saddle. These hands always work together, okay? So if this inside rein lifts up, this outside rein needs to come up too. Don't just work one hand at a time. They always work together. Think of like a string being attached to your wrists. Okay. Good. Be real dramatic. Make him, there you go, make them move away from that leg. Don't look at that cone. So if you're looking at that cone, you know, then you're going to be looking to the inside and looking at that barrel, okay? I want you to look in front of you where you need to go. Look at that ground. Wait to that outside stirrup. Pockets on your saddle. I don't want to see your pockets in the midair. Sit down on the butt. Roll your hips down. Good. There you go, good. Nice, very good. Let's go ahead and quit on that. Much better. Make sure to sit down in your saddle. You want to get way up here and stand up in those stirrups. Roll your hips down, be light in your feet. Good, that looks good. I'd put her right there. Or him, I can't remember. Okay, we get 2 more people out here. Don't be shy, you guys. We've got a long day. I promise I'm going to make everyone do it. Okay, move away from that cone. Move away from that cone. Get that nice C. Nice C shape in that horse's body. Sit down in your saddle. Don't look at the cone. Sit down, down, down. You're leaning way over the top of your horse. Look here, you want to kind of get like this. Sit down in your saddle, really deep. There you go. There you go. Move away.